today I'm going to show you how to bake chicken breast while the chicken breasts are. I'm going to show you how to make a lemon kale cashew. Let's dive right in. I'm using a pound or so of chicken breast from Whole that was purchased, organic chicken breast. You want to make sure that you preheat the oven at 425 degrees. We're going to be baking this chicken once I see 20. It's also important to note that if you start with room temperature or lightly chilled chicken, the timing is perfect. But of course, we're always going to check with our handy meat thermometer just to ensure the safety and well-being of you and your is secure. Internal temperature for chicken should be 165. So I'm just going to open our chicken breast. I'm going to season it lightly on both sides with my sea salt blend or Vermeer. Higher you go to season it, just as a quick tip, the more coverage or surface area that you will receive. I'm going to do it with salt and pepper, onion, and garlic. That way, whatever I use the chicken for, even if I don't put it on a salad, it will be lightly seasoned. Pretty versatile. I can always add seasoning as the week goes on if I don't eat all three of my chicken breasts, but at least this way. Okay, dusting it with, again, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion granule. Not a perfect science. For those of you who measure everything, you do not have to measure the season. And for those of you who know me, I don't love raw chicken, so I always use other utensils. Cuts down on the mess that you create. And I just have to wash my hands up. Once they're nice and spaced out, I'm going to wash like that for a ball. So I also set these back in the first step. I put these chicken breasts in parchment paper to make the clean out the and get anything cooked on and really burn on them, which just makes cleanup great. And it's not like aluminum foil. So it's one of my favorite things in my kitchen. So now I'm just going to dust the other side of these chicken breasts. If they have a bunch of tendons or fat, sometimes I'll trim them out, but these look pretty good. And a lot of people ask, oh, well, Dana, don't you put any fat when you bake your chicken breasts? And the answer is no. I'm going to save my fats for the salad dressing we're going to make in just a second that you can see. So I forgot pepper and these other two. You can really use any seasoning blend that you like that is clean and sourced properly. I could basically tell you a whole nother conversation on spices and seasoning blends alone, which I know some of you are interested in, but we'll save that for another day. I'm just going to pop these in the oven and work on our salad dressing and our salad in just a minute. Back to my salad here. This recipe is an oldie, but it's coming from the Institute of Functional Medicine's Renew Food Plan. It's a food plan that helps just reset everything. I am checking out my kale leaves. These are fresh from Kobe Rice Farm Box. So you can't get crisper or more turbid than this green curly kale. The type of kale that we're using. So I'm just going to cut off the stem and get it in my bowl while my chicken is baking. And in a few minutes, I need about 3 to 4 cups for this recipe. So it's going to be pretty much from the bag kale. I just want to show you a trick with the kale to de-stem these. If I hold it by the stem and I fold my hand around it like a little C shape and hold the stem, I can pull the entire stem back and get most of the leaves with my other hand very easily. The reason why I'm de-stemming this is because if I leave the stems on and proceed to eat the salad raw, it'll be extremely fibrous, difficult to chew, and much more better than keeping them off the stem. Say hello to our group of participants who are watching us. Hello. Hello. Time is a bad thing. I didn't know. Miss Kayla is a whiz at the greens, y'all. So she might be a simple know, but I know she knows what color green is. It's the same thing. So these dark green leafy vegetables are really good for you from a fiber standpoint, but they're also rich in plenty of antioxidants, useful nutrients. This roughage is a insoluble fiber that can really help some old yucky bits of the GI tract. We can't have them all, y'all. Go try. Okay, I'd say we're pretty close, y'all, to the 4 to 6 cups that we. So we're just gonna do that. I think there's a few extra leaves in here, so I'm just gonna do the whole bag. Because why not? Cooking is supposed to be fun, even though I am basing this on an old recipe. My prior knowledge, I valid. Okay, it's actually gonna shrink a good bit because what we're gonna do is we're gonna massage these leaves with some sea salt so we can take a lot of the water. This salad is great because for those of you that rush and busy during the last for 3 to 4 days after you make it, it'll still be just as crunchy and fresh as the first day. So before I massage this kale down with some sea salt, I'm going to give it a good rinse in the strainer and my salt, because once it's organic from the farm, there's some nice little organic bugs, pesticide free, and some organic dirt that we wouldn't want. And I'm just going to water and make sure I'm getting a little bit of that water. Like I said, we're about to rub it down. The salt. I'm going to take out these couple of leaves that are yellow because those are already starting to go bad and they're not as rich with nutrients as these dark leafy green. So we want the best quality ingredients that are going to be going in your body. I'm just going to shake the excess water here and put it back in my bowl. So you can use any kind of salt to extract the water and pull it from this kale. So I'm just using my Herbamare sea salt. That I would say a liberal amount. So let's 2 teaspoons of salt that you can rub down. What you're really trying to do is get all of this salt on the leaf to preserve the texture and to make sure that as this rests while the chicken's baking, that we can really get as much water out of these leaves as we can. It's also important to note that there are many different types of salt that might be in our pantry. That Herbamare sea salt blend is one of our favorites. We also like Maldon sea salt flakes, typically used as a finishing salt, but it's coarse ground. It's a little bit saltier than the normal salt. So that's why people love finishing their steaks and salads and other things with. But just make sure that you're not using iodized sea salt here, because for newbies, that's not just a basic sea salt, because it will be probably a little too salty to eat unless you rinse or wipe off the salt additionally, which is going to defeat the purpose of keeping the crunch, using the salt to extract the water. Okay, so I think all of my leaves are nice and coated well. They're already starting to let go of some of the water and maintain their crunch. So you will know that you're going to have a nice sheen. Just going to wipe this excess salt off of my hand. And we're just going to let our kale rest while I whisk together this salad dressing to go with it. So I'm going to make probably enough salad to cover. This salad makes 2 servings, so a 2-cup measuring cup is probably sufficient. And I have a whisk here because I'm actually going to make my own salad dressing version. We're going to use 1 tablespoon, which is about 3 or 4 teaspoons, for those of you who don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use 1, and I've got one of these amazing little measuring cups. And this is good for liquid stuff. I don't have to use the measuring cups, but if you see on here, there are some numbers on the inside of this cup. And so I'm just going to pour to my 1 tablespoon line and dump it on in there. I also need 1 tablespoon equal of lemon juice. So what I'm going to do is just move a couple of these ingredients out of my way. I'm going to use my trusty knife. If you don't have a lemon press, it's really convenient to use a fork in your hand to extract lemon juice out of a lemon. bearing in mind that this is a Meyer lemon, so it's going to have much fewer seeds than the lemons that you'll see at the store, but it tends to be a little bit sweeter. It's known to make the best lemonade ever because it's equally as sweet as it is tart naturally. It's a little bit darker in color, almost orange. You can see that the rind is different than most normal conventional lemons. But I'm just going to squeeze this in my hand, use my little mini tablespoon because I'm doing equal parts, and I'm going to put the fork in the center of my half slice of my lemon, and I'm just going to use my hand to catch any potential excess seed that might go in there because I don't want to eat the seed. So about half of a good lemon is going to give you about 3 to 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. So you can see there, I'm going to clean the remaining olive oil and I'm going to add my lemon juice there. So I don't need to add any additional salt, but I do need to add a 4th cup of my cashews here. And I'm going to chop them nice and fine because those are going to give me a nice little crunch in my dressing. So we're going to add those last. But this is a very easy recipe to make because it's only a simple few ingredients and a little bit goes a long way. We're going to actually have the salad dressing. So all I have to do is put a little pinch of black pepper in the mix. I'm just going to use my hand as that is a pinch since my fingers can't fit. I'm going to wipe off the pepper because I don't want it to end up in nice. But what I'll do is I'm going to take a 4th cup, which is about a small handful, like so. I'm going to put them on this cutting board, and I'm going to chop them fine. So one trick to chopping things fine without cutting yourself is first, use the right tool. Use a knife that is a size that you're comfortable with. That is nice and sharp because that prevents injury. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my fingers out of the way. I'm going to make these cashews as flat as possible. And I'm going to place my knife on the cutting board with one hand on the end, anchoring it down. While I'm gripping it nice and tight, I have my fingers out of the way, both on the top and the bottom of my knife. And I'm anchoring the front. So guess what? I never really have to take my knife off the cutting board. So I'm just going to go back and forth until these are the texture that I want. Some might move around, but it's okay. So if you're using a bigger knife, it's going to be much easier for you if you're comfortable with a bigger knife. But certainly, like I said, if you're not comfortable, you're still working on getting your knife skills there, and you don't love to cook, just use the knife size appropriately that you're comfortable with. But if you're not comfortable with knives, that's okay too. You can always put them in a bag and bang them out with the bottom of the measuring spoon on your counter if that's what it takes. So this is really a coarse chop. You want them small enough, be nice in the mouth, but they don't have to be small. Because again, we're using this for texture. And really, you're going to finish this salad dressing at the very end. So once things get spread out, I'm just going to go over it one more time to get some of my big chunks out of the way. But see, there's no way that I can get my fingers in the way if I'm holding it down like so. This recipe calls for cashews. I know that we have at least one participant who is allergic to some, often tree nuts. So you can easily substitute for another nut that you appreciate. Or maybe this is an opportunity for you to get another 4th cup of your seeds, either pumpkin or sunflower that are on your food plan, into this salad mix. So those are done. And all we have to do now, check on our chicken out of the oven and whisk this salad dressing. I can see here, this is not a lot of salad dressing, but a little bit goes along with it. So once your emulsion over here, an emulsion is blending anything with a healthy fat with another to make sure that you have a nice, gooey, well-distributed salad dressing. Because this is only 3 ingredients, olive oil, lemon juice, and pepper, it's going to be pretty flavorful but we're not really going to take away from the seasoning of our chicken or the flavor of our. I'm going to put together my salad real quick and then take my chicken out of the oven because it's about ready. Beautiful. I'm going to let them rest for today. I always want to check their. You want to just triple check, make sure. Internal temperature for a chicken breast, I always choose the big one. Internal temperature, 165. I'm going to get that all the way in the center. Okay, 160. Okay, I've got my perfectly cooled, slightly chilled chicken breasts. They're not really chilled yet. They're still warm from the oven. But you see the color that I have on these chicken? They brown perfectly. I did not add any oil to my pan. I simply used a dry seasoning blend that I made before you. And you have perfect chicken breasts. These are so versatile. I always have at least one in my fridge. So I'm going to take my fork that I used for my lemon, and I'm just going to slice this chicken breast because once I serve my salad in just a minute, I want to show you how perfect this chicken came out. And it'll be perfect like this every time. So one chicken breast for a protein question is about 40 grams of protein. One average chicken breast of 8 ounces. Again, that houses about 40 grams of protein. So really, your serving for women is really about 4 ounces, which is half a chicken breast, can give you 22 grams. You're going to get some other protein from your meal as well, and some from your salad. And I just need to grab some utensils to mix my salad before I serve them for you. Just making sure that everything's coated with that seed, everything's fallen to the bottom. So excited. This is one of my favorite quick and easy salads. It's a really good way to get plenty of your serving. This serves 2 people. So I'm really going to split this salad in half, which is pretty easy to do. It's always a big hit, even for people who aren't following any specific dietary guidelines. This is a great salad because it is gluten-free and dairy-free, soy-free, grain-free, so make it even, since I eyeballed my original serving. And then we're just going to put half of our chicken breast because this is actually for Dr. Knife and myself. And voila, you have one of our absolute favorite lemony cashew kale chicken. And last but not least, the pièce de la résistance. We're going to put some mixed sprout on here for some added benefit. I love sprouts because it makes everything so fragrant and earthy, bright, and it's just going to give some extra pizzazz to our salad. Thank you for watching.